Good morning, everyone. There's a verse in this week's Torah portion that practically every American knows. It's a famous verse, and it's found inscribed on the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania, and I'm sure you've all been there. And it's the cracked Liberty Bell, and it says, a verse from this week's Parsha, proclaim freedom throughout the land for all its inhabitants. And it became a symbol of the freedom of the emancipation of slaves in America. And it's from Parsha's Bahar, where the Torah talks about the Jubilee year, that every 50th year is the Jubilee year, and you have to liberate, you have to free all your servants, all your indentured servants. Every servant goes free, and therefore it's a year of proclaiming freedom throughout the land. However, the question is asked, why does it say, proclaim freedom throughout the land for all its inhabitants? It should have said, proclaim freedom throughout the land for all the servants, for all the slaves. Why all the inhabitants? The majority of people are not enslaved. So why does the verse say for all its inhabitants? And here the Torah is giving us a very important message. And the message is, when you liberate another person, you're really liberating yourself in the process. Because whatever you do unto others comes back to you. When you're suppressing a person, when you're controlling a person, when you're dominating a person, you don't realize, but you're enslaving yourself in the process because you're tied down with manipulating or controlling or trying to enslave that person. When you let go, you find that you've liberated yourself. And the greatest freedom you can find in your own life is by helping another person find their freedom. I think Rosa Parks, famously when she sat on that bus, she said that I want to be remembered as a person who sought to be free so that others can be free. And that's why it's interesting in Judaism, when we talk about employees and employers, the Torah doesn't talk about employee rights. You know, you go into companies, you see employee rights. The Torah talks about employers' obligations. You as an employer have to be good to your workers. You have to make sure that they have the maximum freedom in their lives. And if you do that, automatically your needs as the employer will be fulfilled by your employees. It will be reciprocal. I'll just tell you a story. There was a great Rosh Yeshiva in Jerusalem. His name is Rabbi Meltzer, a great rabbi, and he would walk from his yeshiva every day to his home a few blocks down. And his nephew, who was a student, would accompany the rabbi. And one day he walked him home. It was a cold winter day in Jerusalem. And he walked a few blocks. And when he came to the apartment, he wished his uncle a good day. And the uncle went up the steps. And when he came to the door, he stopped, turned around, and came back down the steps. The nephew was wondering what he's doing. He said, is everything okay? He said, just give me a few minutes. And he paced on the street for a few minutes. And then he went up a second time. Once again, he came to the door on the top of the steps, came back down again, and walked around. After 3 or 4 times, he kept on saying, just give me a few more minutes. His nephew said, is everything okay, Rabbi? You know, what's the matter? He said, I'll tell you. He says, like, every week, once a week, there's a cleaning woman, a maid, who comes to clean our apartment. When I came to the top of the steps, I heard she was singing in the apartment while she's mopping and cleaning. And I know if I walk in, she'll be embarrassed and she'll stop singing. And when she sings, it makes her work a little lighter, easier for her to work. And if she stops singing, it's going to be a little more difficult to do her work. I don't want to burden her. I want her to have the easiest workload, so I'm going to wait till she stops singing. That's the sensitivity to allowing another person. When you help another person find their freedom, you free yourself in the process.